argument for keeping drugs illegal is the harm they can do.
Drugs, I'm not a big, woohoo, let's take drugs type person. Drugs can be incredibly dangerous and negative. What I'm saying is making them illegal isn't working. It doesn't work. It doesn't prevent people from using drugs. I'm talking about...
It didn't prevent you?
No, it made absolutely no difference. I think no difference at all. I think
Except presumably you lived in fear of, at some point, possibly running up against the law.
It complicated the situation and it made it more difficult to approach the situation for what it is legitimately, a disease which requires therapy and compassion, not to be pushed underground and controlled by illegal economies. So, yeah, John, in my particular case, what would have helped is regulation and therapy. I'm not talking about let's have a free-for-all, some crazy whacked-out world where everyone's on drugs. I'm saying that drugs should be pharmaceutical quality, they should be controlled and prescribed and not part of a huge sort of a criminal...
OK, so to that end, you have a campaign which focuses on what?
Caroline Lucas, the MP, Green Party MP, has proposed that there's a full debate and investigation into UK drug policy. Along with Avaz, the online campaigning website, we've got over 100,000 signatures. That's what's required for it to be debated in Parliament. The debate is already going to happen.
You're asking them, then, a whole lot of politicians who you say young people shouldn't vote for, to determine what should happen to drug policy.
Well, this could end up being yet another example of why politics isn't representative, because we already know now that there's a mandate. We already know there's a consensus. We know that politicians know that drug laws aren't working. We know that the people of this country want reform around drug laws, and yet it hasn't changed.
Do we? Has it really been tested?
Yeah, I think so, mate. There's been pretty thorough reports around it. 66% of Conservative voters, 69% of Labour voters, 61% of Daily Mail readers want drug laws changed. So there's a huge mandate. And this survey, mate, we got 100,000 signatures in 24 hours. I came on here to promote
but you're asking people
and we don't even need to promote it anymore. It happened so quickly. I don't even need to be here.
No, but you're asking people to sign up to a petition that then MPs that you do not want them to vote for are going to have to debate.
Yes, that's right.
Well, how does that work?
Because I'm not interested in the power of politicians. I'm interested in the power of people. I'm interested in representing people. This does represent the views of people. 100,000 people in no time at all have signed this petition.
But Russell, there's a confusion here.
There's not confusion, John.
You said don't vote to young people. You said Russell Brand, have never voted.
I never will be. Yeah, John, I maintain this.
But therefore you're asking people people want people to vote for.
Yes, that's right.
To determine a change in the drug law.
No, John, that's not what's happening. What I'm doing is I'm demonstrating consensus. I'm further demonstrating that these politicians are completely out of touch. They are irrelevant, but until the revolution, this is the system that we will be using.
But in effect, you are actually doing the government's work for them, because the very people you're saying don't vote, young people, that's who you were talking to specifically, right?
Yes.
OK.
Let's talk to all people, actually.
No, those are the people who are suffering the cuts. They're the people, for example, whose educational maintenance grant, which made all the difference to going to school for 16-year-olds, they're cutting that.
John,
if these young people were voting...
John, absolutely not. I refuse to be drawn on this subject. You know better than anybody that parliamentary democracy does not represent people. What they offer is piecemeal change. I'm saying people deserve more. If democracy was truly representative, then the 1 million people march against the Iraq war would have meant there wasn't an illegal war in Iraq. I think there was an illegal war in Iraq. So don't tell me that politics works. I'm saying let's form consensus. Let's bring people together.
I'm not telling you anything. I'm not telling you anything. I'm trying to strip down what telling
people... on the television.
No, I'm trying to
tell me before we're on.
I'm trying to strip down what you are trying to tell people. On the one hand, you're saying, don't vote.
Yes.
And on the other hand, you're saying, sign up to this petition. So those people for whom you will not vote will make a decision.
Well, this is going to be a process.
That doesn't make any sense.
Please, John, what is important? What doesn't make sense?
Do you regret telling people not to vote?
Stop. Look, listen, let me talk. What doesn't make sense are the current laws around drugs in this country, which means people are unnecessarily dying and a disease is being stigmatised.
See this psychedelic place behind me?
I wish it was psychedelic, John, because I think some ayahuasca might elevate their consciousness.
Russell Brand, give me a picture of what you would like to see. Just tell me
a truly representative democracy.
What would that look like?
It would look a lot like that, John. It would be a lovely psychedelic building. John, please, again,
No, but what do you want to see?
John,
how would decisions be made?
Please let me ask you. Is there a distinction between pointing out that they're in one... I'm here to talk about the issue around drugs. In countries like Portugal and Switzerland, where they have reformed their drug laws, people are not dying of this disease in such huge numbers. Crime is dropping. HIV infection is dropping. That's important. That's more important than you, an entertainer, getting me, another entertainer, to cook up a wacky version of politics so you can make me look a bit daft because I'm passionate and I care.
No, but it seems to me if you want to demolish one thing...
I'm talking about...
But if you want to demolish one thing, surely you have to give a vision of what it is you'd actually like to see in its place.
Yes, and this will be a process. It will be a process, and it won't just come from me. I'm talking about a different system that isn't about just David Cameron or me or anyone turning up on the telly, shouting their mouth off.
There are very serious floods in this country, and a lot of people think it's about climate change. But a lot of politicians don't think it's about climate change and don't want to think it's about climate change. So the question is, do you believe in climate change? Do you think that's what's happening?
I think the climate's changed, and I think there's a lot of evidence from scientists, and I think there's a lot of work and effort going into suppressing that information so that energy companies can continue to operate the way they are.
Do you think there's human involvement?
In what sense?
In changing the climate?
Yes, I do, actually. Yeah. But I mean, like, again, I'm not an expert on climate change, but Naomi Klein is, and she thinks it, and she believes in it, and that's enough for me. And she's saying that nothing's going to happen around climate change and the way that we use energy on our planet unless people protest and unless people en masse get involved. Like you, in a way, asking me to devise all the solutions.
In an odd sort of way, she's coming up with a different solution to the one that you're coming up with drugs. Drugs, you're talking about a petition to try and raise awareness and try and get commitment. She's talking about actual direct action on the streets.
And I think the direct action on the streets is probably the best way to get things changed in every area. However, because it seemed apposite...
But you actually used the example of the Iraq War. It had no effect at all.
Right, yeah, that's true, John. So obviously these protests need to become more vehement, more active, more direct. They need to change, they need to evolve. But the options aren't let's do something or let's do nothing.
In your journey from drug addiction, have you concluded in the end that you're a revolutionary? No, it's a fair question. Do you want a revolution?
You know I do. You know I do. That's the reason that I'm here. First of all, I want a revolution in the way that we regard addiction as a disease, the way we legislate it, the way we treat drug addicts. But further than that, I want to address global inequality around economics, and we need to find some suitable ecological solutions around energy.
Russell Brand, thank you for talking to us.
See you after the break, John.
Not quite. Still here. And tomorrow night, you can see the next instalment of our series on the challenges facing the under-25s.